Hello, beautiful souls. It's Rev Kr1s talking to you today about Lent and making sacrifices for the Lord. Welcome to your most favorite YouTube Bible study. Today I'm using the Catholic Bible, especially since it's about Lent. That's kind of the place I go to, kind of identifying my Detroit roots and Hamtramck as being Polish Catholic. I also have a background of being German and Protestant. And I was baptized Free Methodist again when I was 24. So I have lots of different influences in my young life. So I have a lot of different perspectives if you don't know me. All right, so I want to talk about what Lent is. Lent is about 40 days before Easter every year. And the celebration in my neck of the woods in Detroit, we celebrate what's called Fat Tuesday, which is the day before Ash Wednesday. On Fat Tuesday, we kind of take that day as the last day that we can kind of overeat, eat lots of sweets, and we have little donuts from Poland called punchki. One punchki is a punchek, just for your information. My grandma Anna was from Poland, and she settled here, or her family settled here from Poland to Hamtramck, Detroit. And in her Polish-speaking community, in her community, they still celebrate it, and that tradition goes on today. There's a few different wonderful bakeries in Detroit, in Hamtramck, that do the punchkis, and there's lines out the door every year on Fat Tuesday. So I actually asked her more about that tradition in the 90s at some point, and she told me that her family actually would put anything in the house at all that was expensive food or fattening in the punchkis, including meats, any kind of fats. They would, she said they would fry them in like pig lard or pork lard or pork fat, and any kind of sugars, any kind of, fruits, anything sweet or savory. So they're not just sweet like they are now, the original punchkis. So that was interesting. The point is to kind of get rid of all of those fattening foods before the Lenten season begins, and then you're supposed to give up something to make you a better person, or give a sacrifice to Jesus as he sacrificed for us. So many people give up meat, alcohol, or sweets, or say they're going to fast at certain points. The season's kind of about fasting also. Most of the Catholics that I know, or just Christian denominations that I know or that I have had the privilege to study, celebrate by eating only fish on Friday and eating very little meat, or eating no sweets, no alcohol, as I said. And this kind of signifies Jesus before the Easter season. He spent 40 days trying to avoid temptation, and he fasted. And the Bible talks about fasting several times. It talks about the number 40 several times, which I feel like after I kind of meditated and read for this lesson, I'm going to probably do a Bible study on 40 in the Bible. There's some interesting things where that number keeps coming up, and they're very significant. So for me, in my teaching, to make it simple, Lent is basically about Jesus's fast and his prayers to be disciplined, resist temptation, and temptation is our human nature that we need to try to resist. Unfortunately, that's inside all of us. From the story of Adam and Eve, they were tempted to eat the apple. We all know how that went. Temptation usually leads down a bad road, and it's usually from the devil, which in the Lent story, it definitely is the devil trying to tempt Jesus. Basically, according to our calendar now, I just wanted to give this lesson also. Sometimes Ash Wednesday begins not exactly 40 days before Easter, excuse me. Sometimes, due to Easter always being on a Sunday now, our calendar is different from when the Bible was written. There's all these different factors. It used to go on how the moon and the sun were on their calendar, and a kind of a different thing. It's kind of around 40 days now, so I just wanted to let you know if you're counting. I think it's a few extra days this year. But Lent is always about 40 days before Easter, and the purpose is to sacrifice and be Christ-like. Always in these Bible lessons, I want you to see how you need to try to change your life to become Christ-like. You can never be Christ, but that's the goal. All right, so most religions actually that I've studied always have some kind of sacrifice or fasting. The Muslims have a beautiful tradition of Ramadan. The Jewish faith has some different times of fasting and only being able to eat after sundown, or having dietary restrictions like only eating kosher food, not eating dairy at certain times. So all of us kind of do this in our religions, most organized religions, to give a sacrifice and to learn discipline. So that's a beautiful thing. So this year, Fat Tuesday, especially in Detroit, yay, is on Tuesday the 9th of February, so this week, and then Ash Wednesday is on Wednesday the 10th. And on Ash Wednesday, if you don't know, you get your ashes as a cross on your forehead at church. It's an outward sign that we're all sinners, and you wear the ashes all day. The ashes come from the palms from last Palm Sunday. They're burned and they use the ashes. So isn't that gorgeous, beautiful? All right, and then Easter Sunday, just for everyone, is on March 27th this year. So it's a wee bit early. Sometimes we do April, or most of the time we do April for Easter, but either way. All right, so the verses for Lent are Matthew 4, number 1 through 11. And Matthew, of course, is one of the 4 Gospels, so it's about Jesus' life, and it's about Jesus and the devil going back and forth. Jesus is fighting the devil's trying to tempt Jesus into doing things he doesn't want to do, trying to tell him what direction to go in, and Jesus is not going to have it, so he fasts for 40 days, prays for 40 days, and resists the devil's temptation. So that's what our 40 days symbolizes. It's so long to read, it's actually kind of hard to read, but I'm going to do my best. So in my Catholic Bible, book, Matthew 4, it says the temptation above it. And it says, "Then Jesus was led into the desert by the Spirit to be tempted by the devil. He fasted 40 days and 40 nights, and afterward was hungry. The tempter approached and said to him, 'If you are the Son of God, command these stones to turn into bread.' And Jesus replied, and Scripture has it, 'Not on bread alone is man to live, but on utterance that comes from the mouth of God.' Next the devil took him to the holy city, set him on the parapet of the temple, and said, 'If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down. And Scripture has it, he will bid his angels take care of you, and their hands they will support you, and it will never stumble, and you may never stumble on a stone.' And Jesus answered to him, Scripture also says, 'I shall not put the Lord your God to the test.'" So basically the devil's saying, well, if you're really the Son of God, you should do this, you should do that, and the angels will save you, God will save you if you do it. And he's saying, I'm not going to test God, that's not what we do. And he kept having an answer to everything the devil was saying while he was fasting and praying and trying to stay away from the devil's temptation. So, of course, the devil didn't win. And then number 8 says, "The devil then took him to a high mountain and displayed him before the kingdoms of the world in their magnificence, promising, all these will I bestow unto you, prostrate yourself in homage before me. At this Jesus said to him, 'Away with you, Satan. You shall not homage to the Lord your God. Him alone shall you adore.' And 11 says, at that the devil left him. The angels came and waited on him." So Jesus was rewarded by the angels once he told the devil, like, "Be gone with you. I'm tired of this. You're not going to sway me. I'm not going to listen to you." So that is what Lent represents. Everyone, not everyone, but most people that try to give up something for Lent, it is a sacrifice and a fast as Jesus did for us. And usually if you're able to give up something, it will become a habit at that point also. Studies show us that 40 days is plenty of time to form a new habit. So if you choose something, that would be great. If not, just keep the Lord in mind in your prayer time and study the Matthew 4. So I want to wish everyone a wonderful week this week. Thank you for always watching, and please like, share, and subscribe to these videos and pass them along to your friends if you like them. Have a blessed week.